Juicy, beefy, rich, and flavorful, beef back ribs are some of the best cuts of beef that you can cook. They're often underutilized though, because it's really hard to cook them traditionally without overcooking them. But with sous vide, you can make them perfect every single time. I'm going to show you how coming up next on Amazing Food Made Easy. Hey there, I'm Jason Logsdon from Amazing Food Made Easy and president of the International Sous Vide Association. And today I am diving into all things beef back ribs. First of all, let's be clear, there's a few different types of beef ribs. A lot of ones people associate with sous vide are short ribs and plate ribs. We are not talking about those today. We are talking about beef back ribs. I have a video for beef short ribs that you can check out that dives more into the other types, but today it's all about the juicy, flavorful beef back ribs. Those are pretty common in traditional barbecue cooking because you need low and slow to break them down. But as we know with sous vide, you can cook them at any temperature for a long enough time to result in perfectly cooked, juicy, tender ribs. And to me, that's the biggest benefit of why you would use sous vide for beef back ribs. I think it's one of the perfect cuts to use sous vide on. It's one of my favorite ways, and the only way really, that I cook back ribs now. And the ability to tenderize them at a medium rare or medium temperature is the biggest reason why you should use sous vide to cook your back rib. Some people just like to heat their ribs through, but at that point they're still pretty chewy, and I prefer to go at least 8 hours and up to 24 hours to really tenderize and break the ribs down. This results in steak-like melt-in-your-mouth ribs that are just amazing to eat. If you want more of a traditional flavor, you can also heat them up to about 150 degrees, and that's going to be more traditional, but still have a lot of the juiciness and a lot of the benefit of cooking sous vide. I highly recommend trying your beef ribs at a few different temperatures. I either do 131 when I want a steak-like temperature or 150 if I want that more braised-like traditional texture. Either one of them results in really great ribs that I think will blow your friends and family away when you serve it to them. So let's dive into the actual sous vide beef rib process. So to help with this, I'm going to link up my favorite simple sous vide beef back rib master recipe. It makes it easy to put out perfectly cooked beef back ribs every single time. You can pair with your favorite sauces, your favorite rubs, put them on your smoker to make a great meal. You want to remove them from the store packaging, take off any fat or connective tissue that's on them, any excessive amount really. And then you can either bag them whole or you can break them down into individual ribs or 2 or 3 ribs if you want. I like to add salt to them. I always use kosher salt. Some people prefer to skip the salting till the end. You do what makes you happy. I also like using spice rubs a lot. It's a great way to add a lot of additional flavors to the outside of the food, though I save black pepper until after I'm done cooking. Next, put the back ribs into the sous vide bag and seal them. Any food-safe, heat-safe plastic bag will work well. There's several types of sous vide bags. You can use Ziploc freezer bags or other food-safe zip top bags, just using the water displacement method. You can use an edge vacuum sealer or even a chambered vacuum sealer. Ribs are pretty forgiving, so you can't go wrong with any of the sealing methods. If you're cooking multiple ribs, make sure that they're in a single layer. That helps make them cook evenly and keeps the cook time at the 8 to 24 hour mark that I suggested. If you start stacking them, it increases the cook time exponentially, and you're not going to have the things cooked in the middle at the time the ones on the outside are cooked. Once the bags are sealed, you just prepare the water bath. You can fill any container with water. I usually use a stock pot or a polycarbonate container. They'll probably be Rubbermaid and Cambro. All make really good ones. Set your sous vide machine to the desired temperature for your desired doneness for your ribs. Place the sous vide bag in the water bath, and you don't really have to wait for the water temperature to preheat. It's a long enough cook time that the extra 15 minutes of heating time doesn't affect the overall cook time at all. Next, let the beef ribs cook in the warm water until they are fully tenderized. Like I said, you can just heat them through for a few hours, but I much prefer if they go 8 to 24 hours to really tenderize and break down a little bit more. Next, remove the back ribs from the hot water bath, and you are ready to sear and eat them at that point, or you can chill them in an ice bath and store them in the fridge for up to a week or 2 if you're preheating these to cook them later at a party. Just reheat them at the same temperature for an hour or 2 before finishing it, or you can finish it on a smoker. You can take them out of the bag cold, throw them on the smoker, monitor the temperature to make sure it doesn't go above what you originally sous vided them at, and you'll have a nice smoky finished barbecue beef ribs as well. If you're going to sear traditionally, whenever you're ready to eat, take them out of the plastic bag, dry them off really well using paper towels or a dishcloth, sear them over high heat. I like to use a hot grill for the ribs, but a hot skillet or cast iron pan also works really well. And as I said, the smoker is a great way to add some good traditional barbecue flavors to your beef ribs at the end of the process. If you're using a pan, make sure you use a high smoke point oil like avocado oil or grapeseed oil. You just want to sear it for 2 to 3 minutes total, turning the ribs every 30 to 45 seconds until a nice, crusty, golden brown crust forms. If you want a better sear, you can let the ribs cool off on the counter or in an ice bath before you start the searing process. This will give you more leeway that you can sear them for a longer amount of time without raising the internal temperature of the ribs any. And now you are ready to serve them. There's a lot of different ways that you can serve beef back ribs. My favorite is on the bone with a side of corn on the cob and some coleslaw, maybe a little bit of macaroni and cheese. But if you want a more upscale presentation, you can take them off the bone. You can do whatever you normally do with traditionally cooked beef back ribs. They're honestly great, even with just a little bit of sea salt, some fresh herbs, and a compound butter smeared all over it. You can just pick them up and chew them to your heart's content. It's one of my favorite ways to eat the ribs when I'm having people over for a party, and I might just need a little bit of a snack before everyone shows up. Just pick it up off the grill and enjoy it. So now you know everything you need to know about making perfectly cooked sous vide beef back ribs. If you have any comments, please drop them below. And for people just getting started, I always recommend my free Quick Start course at afmeasy.com/quickstart. And I also do a lot of work with the International Sous Vide Association, including free showcases, demos, and cook-alongs at the isva.org. Till next time, I'm Jason Longston.